Since Starter Deck 5 is coming out this week, I'm going to show you guys how I go about building a deck and how a deck can evolve with the format. What's up guys, it's Garrett with Talking Cards, and I was going to break down my BandaiFest experience and kind of talk about the regional, why I chose Green White Wing 0, talk about my 7-2 run, and kind of how breakers work, because from 13th place to 60th place, we're all 7-2s. And that happened because we only had 9 rounds, and we only had 9 rounds because there was only one undefeated left at 9 rounds. There was the possibility of a 10th round, which would have kind of helped get rid of so many X2s, but that wasn't the case here. So I bubbled out, no big deal, happens. You know, a 7-2 record's pretty solid. But yeah, I could make that video. And instead though, I want to talk about deck building. With the release of STO5, I thought it'd be more interesting to show you guys a video on what I think about when deck building, how I go about deck building, how I even choose to build a deck. Like, how do we establish merit? Like, what's the purpose? Like, what does this deck do that other decks can't? And then I want to show you guys the evolution of a deck over the course of a format. I think these two things will gel really well to show you guys and give you guys a good grasp on deck building. So let's get into it. All right, guys, we're going to start with building this purple deck here with the STO5 cards. And we need to establish why we want to play purple in the first place. Like, what's the point of this deck? Well, it has suppression. It's a new mechanic that no other color has or card yet. And it's in this form of Gundam Barbados. And it's a good unit. It's a level 6, cost 4. It's a 4/5 naturally. And while it's damaged, it gains suppression, which means when I attack shields, I take 2 shields instead of 1 shield. And it's specifically shields, by the way. So I think that's an interesting card and gives merit to building around it. So we've established a purpose. We are building around the idea of suppression. But what else does purple offer that we can build around? Well, I think Hyakurin, being a purple Resil essentially, is also really good because we can kind of do this mid-rangey beatdown where you have to kind of really deal with my board. So with that in mind, we can kind of think like a red-blue ping, like how that deck operates. Of course, we won't be able to do like amazing ping exchanges because of Merida, and Kshatriya is just really good at that. And we kind of have like the Walmart discount version here with Mikazuki. And it's choose one of your units and one enemy unit, deal 1 damage to them. So, but the good thing about this though is it's 1 paired effect, so it can work on any unit. So that is good. And we are working with that. That's a nice little piece to the puzzle as well. But I think these 2 commands are really interesting. We'll start with Iron and Blood. It's a main action, choose one of your units, deal 1 damage to it. It gains AP +3 during this turn. The other one is Fatal Strike. Choose 1 enemy unit that is level 3 or lower, destroy it. Also has a burst, choose 1 enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. The burst isn't anything crazy, could come up and at least be nice. At least we do get some value off the burst. But I do think Fatal Strike, removing things like Livrets, Zoerts, Resils, is a really good card right now, especially against like green-blue, where they can just leave cards active sometimes and say, hey, next turn I'm winning because I have these cards active, and if you have no way of dealing with them, I'm just going to win out, right? So I think it's really interesting to have this card, and I like it a lot. So let's get to building. We'll build from the ground up, and with aggro in mind and what we're trying to do, we should think about also what we're going to pair it with. So I think due to suppression, we need to get that attack off. We don't want it to be blocked. We want to get into the shields. We want to take 2. We want to be very aggressive. I think it makes sense to pair with blue. 1, we get more Resils, as I hinted at earlier. And then 2, we get Amuro to rest things. Plus, Gundam Amuro Link on 4 is one of the best things you can just do in this game. So I think it makes sense to pair with blue. So let's start with the ground up and do that. We'll start with our purple vanilla here. You know, we want a couple level 2 cost 1s, maybe even 3. I'm thinking we start with 3. So that way we can be a little aggressive in the early game and really put some pressure on our opponents. So now we'll move up to those Resils and Hyakurin. So let's see here. Resil, let's do 4 we'll start with. And then we'll do Hyakurin, I'm sorry, as well. Another thing with these I like to point out is, let's say you have the purple Gray's Custom in hand and you have a Gem in hand. Play the Gem out and you have the option, right, as to which one you want to play on your turn 2 or turn 1 if you're going second. Play the gem out, right? Because you want to give your opponent as little information as possible. Do not let them know you're playing a purple deck yet. You know, if I see a gem, I don't know if it's unicorn. I don't know if it's red, blue, pink. I don't know what that deck is yet. So try to think about those things also when you're deck building, and give yourself those options that can kind of hide what you're playing at times even. And I think it's a good little tip to think about, especially in a game where we're playing blind and we don't know what we're up against. We're going to throw Mikazuki here as a 4-of into the deck while I'm here, just because I see it. And then we have 8. So let's go to Gundam next. We'll move up to our level 4. I'm going to play 4 of those, and we'll snag the Amuros at the same time. Let's see here. And I'm just building this with you guys live, so I hope it gives you a better idea of kind of like how I think about things and just how to go about things. So we have 8 pilots already. We have our Gundams established. I know I'm going to play Show of Resolve, so let me start with 3. I might be able to just get away with 3, so we'll do that. Let's get the Barbados in here because that's our reason for running it. We'll start with 4. It could come down to 3 real easily. So we need a base. I'm gonna play Corsica at 2, and maybe Naval, I think. Corsica for sure at 2, maybe even 3. I want to make sure I'm putting unit pressure on curve, so it's essentially a worse resol, right? Like on curve, I can play that at 3 resources, play Corsica, get my token. That's a 4/2. Yes, it could be lifted. That's why I'm not like in love with the card, but I do think this Naval Argama is a really good card because it can help kind of save the day, if you will, against green blue. We can tap something down if it bursts, you know, because it's just a deploy effect. So that's really good, and also it can help us tap things down on our turn and give us like a mini Amuro Ray. So I think I would play 2/2 of that. I love the purple base, but right now I don't think we have a great way of taking advantage of it. My favorite thing about the purple base too is that it costs 1. I think it's really good for that reason. But we'll start here with the base. With for bases, we have our 8 pilots here. Our high end right now is Gundam and Barbados. So what else do we like from this purple? This is a link pair, so let's take a look at this. At Gundam Barbados second form, while this unit is damaged, it gets AP +2. So it works good with the pilot. Otherwise though, we don't have a great way to ping it outside of with Iron and Blood. So I like with Iron and Blood, we're gonna put 1 in there. It helps our Barbados for sure. I am gonna put 2 Fatal Strikes in because I think it's a good card. Especially with how the format is right now, very Livrith heavy. Like any deck that can play Livrith plays Livrith. I wouldn't mind some Gun Cannon in here too. I really like Gun Cannon. I just think it's a really good card on curve. I do like Anksha. Let's put Anksha in here. We want to kind of be able to ping. So I got 2 Ankshas right now. Let's see where we're at in counts. We got 48 cards. So we got our 12 level 2s cost 1. We have 8 level 3s cost 2s, and then we have 2 Corsica, so that gives us like 10 things to play on level 3, which is nice. We have 6 level 4s, and that is 2 Anksha, 4 Gundam right now, and then we have 4 level 6s in the Gundam Barbados 4th form. I kind of like second form as like a wing 0, not killer necessarily, but it survives wing 0 and it gets a benefit from it, right? It becomes a 4/4. That's kind of cute. And then it's just another link. So we'll put 1 in there right now. I could see myself going up to maybe even going 3/2 on that. But you kind of want to see the Barbados for sure. So 4 GM, 4 Grays. We got the 2 Resol. I do like Gun Cannon. I really do. Tapping things down and just kind of getting control, or even just going at face, just can really help us. But we do have like this pressure that we're presenting, right? And that's another thing to think about. How do I balance the resting nature of things and the pressure I can provide? Because Resil and Hayakarin are going to put so much pressure down. So maybe we actually go 3 Anksha. So let's take a look at this list. All right, here. How do we minimize? Zoom out. Let's take a look at what we just built. So we can see here that we have 4 links for Amuro, 5 links for Mikazuki here, and we have 4 GM. We've already gone over this curve. So our curve's pretty good. Honestly, I'm gonna do something a little weird here. I'm gonna cut down Angsho by 1, and we're gonna go back and put in a gun cannon, I'm sorry. Reason why is I want 5 links at least for each one, I think. I really think you need to be able to rush in this game, and it's not just like because it's a one of, it's because it actually increases my number from 4 to 5 as far as link units are concerned, right? So I think that's a good thing to go off of. So we'll start here. I think this is a good starting place. We would have to play test and test with purpose to figure out what are ratios here, what's working, what's not working, what's good into green white, what's into green blue, what's good into, you know, red blue. But this basic list would give me an opportunity to at least start testing those things, see if I need 4 Barbados, see if I need that gun cannon, see if I need more gun cannon. I think this list would give me the opportunity to test different things. Do I even like Gundam Barbados second form when I see it? Like, would that be better as another gun cannon? And I just go 6-4 as far as links. I think it's little things like that that really matter and allow you to test with purpose, like I said. It's something me and Ben talked about a lot last week on the preparing for regionals video. And when you're play testing, you really need to put cards through the ringer and think about what value is this card adding? Okay, so if every time I see Gundam Barbados second form, I'm thinking, gosh, I wish this was a gun cannon instead, that's knowledge that I can use when I'm going back, revisiting this deck and making tweaks. And I think that's really important and the way you should kind of try to think about things, or even my bases. Maybe, you know, Argama's not coming up at all. Maybe Corsica's just insane and been really great for me, or maybe vice versa. Well, you can start tweaking those. Maybe I need more Anksha. So like, it's things like that. From the playtesting with a purpose, you realize, oh, Anksha is amazing every time I see it. Therefore, because the Resil math, maybe they leave you with just 1 damage every time that they only have like an Ale that has 5 HP because of a link, and Resil, it killed Resil or something, and you know, you can just ping it away. I don't know. Things like that though, are like situations where you can start thinking about, how do I change my deck list and for what purpose? What am I trying to accomplish, you know? And this deck right here is really just trying to be super aggressive, get the suppression swings in, and remove things off the board with things like Fatal Strike and good Gundam trades, and maybe a ping here or two, you know? We have 6 pingers, and that's not even including what we get from our pilot, Mikazuki. So I think this is a good base, and I hope you guys try it and maybe mess around with it, but hopefully that shows you how to deck build. Now, the next thing I want to look at is how decks can evolve over a format and how to evolve with that said format. All right, guys, I want to take a second and talk about my Metafy real quick. And I only will talk about Metafy when there is an update to it, or there's a new event I'm holding, or a guide, or anything like that. I'm not here to weekly spam you guys, but I do have a big event that I'm doing. I'm doing my first coaching class, and I think it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be on October 1st. You guys check it out. It's gonna be where I kind of go through the meta, right? I break down the meta, I go over my list for every single meta deck, and I break down fundamentals across gameplay. You know, I'm gonna do live gameplay with commentary, run a few games even with students, and then open it up to a Q&A, and then kind of end with like my 3 things for regionals and what you should do to capitalize on the event and try to perform at your highest capabilities, you know. I have a lot of regional experience. I've won multiple regionals and multiple card games, and I've been lucky enough to play cards at a pretty high level, and I don't take that for granted. And my favorite moment is when there's that light bulb moment, you know what I mean? When you see a student just like, it kind of click for them, like maybe now they understand how to trade, maybe now they understand how to, you know, mulligan correctly or anything like that. And it just clicks all of a sudden. And that's like one of my favorite things. I love that. So if you guys are interested, check out my coaching class. We also have a new guide out, Gundam Fundamentals here. And I think this is super solid, probably the most important guide I'll ever write, because fundamentals is what wins and loses games. Doesn't matter how great you are, doesn't matter how often you've played. Still, for me, it's something I work on constantly because it is what decides games. So guys, once again, thanks for checking this out, and let's get back to the video. This is the first list I made when we were playing in the beta time. The whole set had just launched, right? We knew about the set. The physical release is not out yet. We had a proxy for this event. It was a pretty big event, and it was the Eagle's Nest event where if you won, you got to pick a beta alt art. So it was really cool. This is what I played. People were trying green white and having little to no success with it, and blue white was just dominant. It was winning everything. So I believe it was 2 weeks before the release of the game, I built this deck, and to me it made sense. I had the early game blockers, I had wing burden mode for ramp, and I had 2 first contacts. So this 6 cards of ramp gave me a good chance at seeing ramp by turn 3 so that I could get to Ale Strike and Perfect Strike before my blue-white opponents, and then from there, just play better cards than them with Death Size, Wing Gundam Zero, and things like that. And, you know, there's a lot of things I changed about this list now, knowing what we know, but that's what I'm trying to show you. Let's see where the list goes and how it evolves. So after this, Caleb also won the next week, Eggman's big event, and he changed some things, but he kept a lot of things the same as well. Like he played 2 first contact and 4 bird mode as well in his event, and he just changed some things around and kind of made the list his own, which is really cool. So that's an evolution as well. But then nowadays, let's look where we're at now. So now we have this list. This is what was played at the regional and did pretty well. It got top 8. I believe the guy's name was Ryan, and shout out to him. Congrats on playing a great tournament. Top 8 is fantastic. Let's get this to settle down here. Okay, cool. So let's go over the list. So we see 2 Zoerts. I think he felt like he could probably get away with that because he also has 2 Hawk of Endymion. So it's like really good to just remove something early, bounce it back, kind of stall, because against green blue, you're just trying to make it to where you can get to a point where you can turn the game, right? You need to kind of suffer a little at first, hope you hit a few bursts, always helps, and then you can kind of turn the tide, right? Because your blockers do become really hard to deal with, and that's why we have to play Zoer. It is not a great card, but it is a good card for helping that matchup, and that matchup's gonna be prevalent, won the event. Next we see the Leverus, that's normal, but this is Sword Strike Gundam. Notice no bird, we're done ramping now. So now we're into Sword Strike territory, and this card is also really good in the green-blue matchup. If you see it, it's really good. That's why we're also on 4 Kira, and that makes sense to me. If we're gonna run Sword Strike, we should run 4 Kira. Now he's only running 2 Ale Strike. I would like to see the Ale Strike number come up. This is personal preference. And then we see Death Scythe, Wing Gundam here. Wing Gundam only at 3. I think that's perfectly fine, by the way. And then a Freedom Gundam. I would rather this Freedom be an Ale Strike, to be honest. But that's just me. And then Wing Gundam Zero at 4 here. And then we see the pilots. Like, we still have 10 pilots. 10 pilots to me makes sense, but he's only on 2 hero, and I think that's fine. I mean, it's only amazing on Wing Gundam. You don't have the burn mode anymore to play it on, but now look at this command package. This is where it's fun. I already mentioned the Hawk. Now we have Unforeseens at 3. Now we have Striker packs at 3. He's even playing 1 Path of Victory. Like, this allows you to hopefully minimize the suffering at the beginning of a green-blue game and be able to turn that tide while still having a good game into green and into the green-blue, of course, but also having good game into red-blue and good game into blue-white. And those were still like decks that mattered. Like, yeah, maybe in the mirror, this deck is a little behind against a bird mode version, but at the end of the day, it's not even like true ramp. Only first contact is true ramp. It's just raising your levels. And if you're not taking advantage when you're ramping of playing out something higher cost than earlier than you should be able to, then it's like the ramp doesn't even matter. For example, when I'm thinking about playing Winged Bird mode, I do it with the purpose of I'm going to either play down Death Scythe or Wing Gundam, probably as a vanilla, meaning I won't play it down immediately with a Link unit, especially if I know they don't have like a way to tap it down or they don't have Amuro. If they lift it, fine. If you want to use your AL Kira to lift that, perfect. But in the mirror, I'm slamming those down as vanilla so that A, I get them out of my hand faster, and B, I can still use a Wing Gundam effect or a Death Scythe. I can put Hero onto it and still ramp naturally and get the first strike. So those are things to think about, of course. But now look at my list that I played at Regional. Let's view this. Minimize here. Boom. And once again, shout out Eggman Events. He's the man. And this deck builder is what I use. So just saying. All right, so you see my list. Couple things me and Ryan agreed upon, obviously, were Unforeseen and Striker Pack. These cards are insane. And if you notice, like, we weren't playing that in the beginning of the game. There was no reason to. There was no aggro in the beginning of the game. Everyone was playing blue-white. So that's how you can evolve with a format. Like, Wing Zero is still such a great card to build around. It does something that no other card does. Deal 3 damage to all level 5s or lower on deploy. That's insane. Plus high maneuver, 5/7 stats. I mean, I'm out of breath just talking about how great this card is. So as you can see, we've evolved from this list here to this. And that's a big change. No first contact. Found that you don't have the time. In an aggro format, you do not have the time to play first contact. I still liked bird mode because I wanted to do things in the mirror like I just spoke about, where I play something out that's a level higher than I should be playing at. And that was really good. I mean, I lost 1 mirror, and that was only because I drew 7 pilots. I'm not winning that game. I mulliganed into like 3, and then I drew 4 more pilots for my next 4 draws. I'm not winning that game. And that's okay. I mean, Gundam games happen. I think it should be a best of 3 game. That's beside the point. But to just kind of go over the evolution, you see the Unforeseen, the Striker packs. We're at 4 Death Scythe now, which if I was to say something about the old list, it should probably always have been 4 Death Scythe. We're also at 4 Wing Gundam. It's like, this list makes sense. We're down 1 less base. Like, to me, this list was really good in the mirror, and it was really good in blue-white. I loved my blue-white matchup throughout the weekend with this list. It was really good, and I really just think that, like, how a deck evolves in the meta is what makes or breaks kind of your season. Like, are you willing to adapt? Are you willing to change? Are you willing to make the adjustments as a season goes on? And I hope these lists kind of show you guys how a format changes and how you need to change with it. You know, I've been playing green white the whole time, and I've messed with this list. I might even mess with it more for Canada. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. I just thought this was perfect for me to play at Texas, you know, and I did really well, 7-2, but the 2 games I lost, I was not a participant in. I just had that bad of hands, and it just happens, you know. But I couldn't say anything more about like how great Ryan's run was. Like, this is fantastic. Like, his list worked perfect for him, and that's great. A top 8 finish is literally nuts. That's awesome. So I think going forward, you need to think about like, how do I evolve the deck? So we'll go back to the STO5 deck we just created with purple blue. How do we evolve this? We're going to get more purple cards. We're going to get more blue cards. When more purple cards come out, is this even the best way to play purple? This is how I'd play it day 1, but I don't know how it evolves to the format. And as we can see with green white Wing Zero, evolving with the format is necessary to be able to compete at the highest levels. So guys, I thank you all for watching. Really appreciate everyone who has stuck with this channel and watches it weekly. I try to put out a weekly video. A little late this week because of BandaiFest. I was there from Thursday to Monday. We drove back, so that was fun to do that with everyone. But yeah, I really appreciate you all watching. It really does mean a lot. And if you guys like this video, please like, comment, subscribe as always. And thank you guys for watching.